What's up, man? We're live. Sorry, I was making sure this is working on Twitter, which it is.
Yeah, I'm already getting jammed for my
I'm getting jammed
consistent technical difficulties. But
everyone thinks it's me. It's not me.
No, it's me. It's 100% me. And I'm glad. I don't know if the Run Pure Sports account is El Capitano, but he was throwing me under the bus, rightfully so. The reason we're 5 minutes late was me. By the way, I don't know if you caught our Ball Knowers premium show last Wednesday.
Yeah, I did.
But yeah, we started by we started like 10 minutes late because I didn't know how to. I still haven't figured out on the back end how to start a show. If I'm the one leading the charge, but glad that you're in here to steer the ship a little bit and play point guard.
It's quite complicated. There's a button at the top right that says start stream. Just give that an old clickarooski and you're good to go. It's Kentucky this week, brother. It's my backyard.
So I've got some tough questions that the people of Louisville and Kentucky are going to have.
How'd you say it? How'd you say it?
Is it Louisville?
I put a tweet out on the weekend. I said,
I know. That's why I'm
There's
trolling.
no E. There's no Louis. It's just Louisville.
So are you going? Like, you're in Lexington, which is like what, 45 minutes away from Valhalla?
Well, yeah, but the apparatus to park there is actually quite challenging. So you're parking 18 miles away. So I'm trying to finagle a parking pass. Yeah, it's bad. Plus the shuttles. So we're figuring that out. But I will be there. Yeah, Thursday and Friday, courtesy of DraftKings. DraftKings, grab yourself one today.
Sweet. So I have a ton of. I'm spending this major in LA, which I'm so grateful for, and it will be better for the RPS subscribers actually, because I won't be phoneless for 8 hours a day like I was at the Masters. Like, I'll actually be able to be a lot more engaged in the Discord while still having a lot of boots on ground from the practice rounds. I've been texting with people all morning who are at Valhalla today. I'm hearing some very concerning reports about the challenge or lack thereof of TPC Valhalla. But it's awesome that you'll be there on Thursday and Friday as well.
Not to dig. So your article is part of the RPS premium package, and some of the stuff that we have at RPS for golf is just incredible. You're incredible. Keith's incredible. Big T stuff is amazing as always. And I hope people come join our Discord. We had a new guy here this afternoon. What's his name? Josh Siegel. Just joined the Discord last night. Let's work, Josh. And then I sent him an incoherent message in comments. But a little snippet from your article. You were critical of Valhalla. Listen, it's not even the number one course in Kentucky.
It's not even the number one course in like the greater Louisville area, right? I mean,
a lot of us consider Louisville, Indiana, but I won't get into that. But if they'd go a little deeper south, that'd be better. But the one thing you did say was taking nothing, I'm paraphrasing. You said taking nothing away from the great people of Kentucky. So you saved yourself the wonderful people of Kentucky, because when you're here, you're family.
That's the big caveat for me about major venues, because listen, I think that Valhalla is not a great golf course architecturally in terms of the test that it provides for pros, but that's not all that goes into a major championship venue. I think that LACC is a top 5 golf course in the country. I think that LACC is an architectural masterpiece. Now, that doesn't mean that LACC is a great major championship venue if all of the members at LACC buy up all the tickets and half the people in Los Angeles don't even know that a major championship's going on, right? So there's a lot more that goes into producing a good major championship than just the architecture of the golf course. And that's why I said, like, I reserve the right to withhold my judgment on Valhalla as a major venue, in the sense that maybe it's an awesome atmosphere, right? Like maybe people come out and create, like, it doesn't feel half as dead as, LACC. And that was one of the great.
You have 200. It's a record-setting number of tickets have been sold, 200,000.
Right. So
Right.
that
I mean, it's a
already
massive ballpark. That's the thing. It's like if you want experience, taking nothing away from Churchill Downs, it seems like I'm banging on Louisville a little bit. But if you really want to experience horse racing intimately, Keeneland's the place to go. If you want to go to Yankee Stadium, then go to Churchill Downs. I mean, for the Derby, you have experience in general, but Valhalla is just a very big ballpark that can hold this number of people. Corporate sponsors, 200,000 people, blah, blah, blah. It's a Jack. They give Jack Nicklaus his major, right? But yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you in terms of the course, its ease. I probably will say be -14, -13 territory.
Yeah. I said I predicted -12 to 15 this morning. I'm going to go with -13. So I'm on the totally the same page as you. Want to give a shout out to Matt Gannon in the chat, who's been at Valhalla this morning.
Cannons.
Yeah. He's been one of the guys that I've been texting. I don't want to, give away too much proprietary information, because I know he's got his stuff and people he's reporting to as well. But I think I can safely report, from a number of sources. He made the reference to Valhalla Craig Ranch. I made the TPC Valhalla joke. I would be surprised. The PGA's made a pretty strong effort to get this to single digits under par. It's been single digits under par 4 of the last 5 years, except at Harding Park, which was a non-traditional PGA setup. I'd be pretty shocked. Like if I'm Scotty Scheffler or Brooks Koepka or one of the favorites, and you're giving me, would you take 9 under at the end of the week? Like, I don't think that's going to be good enough to win this week. I think that I don't know how they get this in the high single digits again. I don't think it's going to be Rory -16 again, but like you mentioned, I feel pretty comfortable in the -12 to -15 range.
Yeah, the defenses in Kentucky are always weather. It is May, so it's not like Barbasol July where you have these gigantic storms, but it's still going to be. I haven't looked at the weather yet, but it's muggy, it's hot, it's Kentucky. Allergies too, by the way, and that's serious. Allergies so peak right now. Everyone's dying. So if you're an import from around the country, you come to Kentucky, you haven't acclimated to it. It's tough right now. And then the grass. It's the bluegrass state, baby. Right? I mean, you get wet bluegrass. It's 4 inches for this rough. It's tough to play out of.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the bigger defenses, right? Is that you guys are going to get some rain over the next couple of days, it looks like, and you're going to have some pretty thick and lush rough in the forecast. I mean, have you guys gotten a lot of rainfall in the last couple of weeks?
No, not in the last couple of weeks. We've had it. Okay. I mean, everything's green, everything's in bloom, allergies are popping. It's dried out a little bit, so we could probably use some rain. But it's. I think it'll be okay. Plus, you have the entertainment component in Kentucky. That's a read for some people. You got bourbon. You've got a lot of cool places to go. So
somebody already called it the Bourbon Mile, as opposed to the Green Mile last week at Quail Hollow. Maybe the Bourbon Mile as a closing stretch. And they're really leaning into the Norse mythology, the Kentucky of it all in their marketing of this major championship. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to look at any of the whole names, but it seems like they're really leaning into the Kentucky atmosphere. And listen, I think that's a great thing, right? I think some of these, and this is what I talked about with Oak Hill last year. Oak Hill is a phenomenal major championship venue because the club really embraces its traditions, and Rochester is a sports-starved city, right? Like if you're a person living in Rochester, you don't really have professional sports to root for. Kind of the Buffalo Bills is the closest you're going to get, maybe Syracuse basketball. Kentucky, you don't have really a lot of professional sports. I know you guys are big college basketball guys, but I think that, when one of the things that you're looking for in a major is when a major championship comes to town, does it feel like the biggest event in town? Do the people in the city wrap their arms around that major and really embrace all of it? And I think that was the biggest problem with LACC, is that none of us living in Los Angeles cared or knew that there's a major going on, because if the weather's nice in LA, people are just going to go to the beach or go to the movies, right? And so
Kentuckians love Kentucky, and we love Kentucky events.
And you guys are a good golf state, right? Like, you guys love your golf in Kentucky. Yeah.
I mean, I got a call from a caddy, Flex, who wants to play Lexington Country Club, the best course in Kentucky, this week. I guess a few guys want to play, so we're going to go play that.
Sweet.
But look at this course. I mean, I went through hole by hole. I certainly don't have the same, architectural dive that you do, but the things that stood out to me are 3 par 3s over 200 yards, 1 250, which is pretty gigantic for a par 3.
Yeah.
A tough closing stretch, 14, 15, 16, 17, top 8 toughest holes on the course. The easiest hole on the golf course is the par 5 closer, which I don't love, but it will bring some drama for sure. But otherwise, relatively straight, nothing super long for these guys. But to me, and two under 400-yard easy par 4s, number 17 and 13 in 2014, the number 4 and number 13. So to me, it's the defense, long par 3s. It is a long course.
Yeah.
Liv going to dominate Christopher Watson. For once in my life, I might be on Bryson.
Yeah.
I think Liv will do actually pretty well. I think Rahm may be sneaky.
Yeah.
I think that I'm getting a lot of topics here, but I think that Rory winning last week is enough that we need for him to pull some ownership down from Sheffler.
Mm-hmm. Are we doing that now? Is that where you want to go?
No, I want you to talk about the course, just generally the setup. I mean, I still believe that majors demand great drivers of the ball. Great, long, and, reasonably long, but accurate drivers of the ball. That's why the Højgaards show up. That's why the Cam Young show up. That's why Fleetwoods. That's why Lowry's. That's why Rory, Xander, Schefflers are always good in majors, because they know how to get the ball in the fairway. So, shout out to Rochester. Go Bills! Ryan
shout out Kellogg, one of the sharpest golf minds out there. Just a lot of bangers in the chat right now. A lot of good dudes in the chat right now. So thanks.
We've got
thanks
700 live there, kid.
Today.
700. Yeah. We finally put this on Twitter.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Yep. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I have described this course as an amalgamation of Muirfield Village for the Jack Nicklaus of it all, the power fade off the tee, the thicker rough, Oak Hill for the narrow fairways, the PGA Championship setup, the smaller greens, and Bellerive for the PGA Championship venue was Zoysia grass. That's a little bit on the easier side, but still quite long. And I think if you combine those 3 golf courses together, what you're going to get is Valhalla, right? And I feel pretty good about that. And I think that if you saw some sort of, like I said, amalgamation leaderboard of what you've seen at those 3 golf courses in the past, which, by the way, is a lot of Brooks Koepka. It's a lot of John Rahm, it's some Victor Hovland. It's a lot, actually, Terrell Hatton's been really good at Oak Hill and Bellerive too. But point being, the PGA has a type, right? And I don't think that this is as pure bomb and gouge as Winged Foot or Oak Hill, because there's some forced layups off the tee on this golf course. The fairways are a little bit wider, which actually gives more accurate players to gain back a little bit of their advantage, where it's not just like Oak Hill or Winged Foot, where it's a coin flip whether you hit the fairway. So even the most accurate players are losing a little bit of their advantage. And that's why I think it falls somewhere in between Muirfield Village and Oak Hill off the tee, where it's a total driving golf course with an emphasis on distance. But one thing that Valhalla does have in its cap in terms of like producing hopefully a great championship is that this is a pure execution test that tests total driving and long iron play. And if you do not have those two skills, then I don't think that you have a very strong chance to win this tournament. And I think the pool of players that can win this tournament is fairly small. And we'll talk about a lot of them here in a second. But this is, you know, like we've talked about, a big boy golf course that is going to heavily accentuate total driving and long iron play. And it just so happens that the best players in the world happen to be the best at those two specific skills.
Yeah, and if you look at total driving, because I looked at that most of the last 24 hours, it's the 150th ranked distance driver on the tour, still hits at 295.
Yeah.
Accuracy is something probably I'm leaning into more this week, but can also hit at least probably 295. So then you have Lowry, number 1 in accuracy on tour, right? Fleetwood, number 4.
Giving away all the good plays right off the bat. I love
right,
Lowry
but then you start to wrap your mind around, okay, why are these guys always showing up in majors, even if they don't have form and even if they don't play well week to week on PGA Tour stops? But Lowry, Xander, Cam Young, and then Højgaard pops at the Masters out of thin air, and then you start to put it together. And there are others, of course, but you can safe, like, here's a safe elimination for everyone this week: Taylor Montgomery. How about that? One of the worst drivers on tour, period.
He just withdrew, so I think you're safe.
Well, see, that's how you make sure your bets hit. Live for the chalk. Sports Live said Mitchell at 6.6. My man, that is a huge fucking circle this week for Matthew.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, there's so much to talk about this week, and
I know.
And a lot of this will be discussed in our Discord. I don't want to give too much away because we're only going to do this in an hour. But please join our Discord so you can talk to us about this, because we have about 13,000 messages a day in there just going over this stuff. But
and don't be afraid to DM me too, because I know the Discord can get a little hectic.
Right. A lot of these optimal builds have one stud and then a balanced build below it, and even leave a tremendous amount of salary on the table. You've seen 47,000, you've seen 46,000. This one for the Masters used all salary, but you still have the stud and then a pretty balanced build below. If you're not going to have a ton of, I think 119 was Scotty's point total for the Masters on the DraftKings scoring. If you're not going to have 2 runaways, right? A Sheffler, let's say it's a Sheffler and a Rory, then you might only need 1 on a winning build, right? Because placement points will be pretty significant this week. It doesn't mean, though, that you can't build a good lineup with 2 studs. But I do think that there is a group of about 6 guys who I think could win this week. Maybe tops. And I think we're on the same page on all of them. I was super disappointed with how Xander finished last week. Okay. That lead, no cut event, smaller field, and then just clowned away to Rory at the end and another second. That's concerning.
Right. So, okay, lots to unpack here. Yeah, I mean, if you look,
I throw my suitcase on the table and make you sort my clothes.
So if you look at like the build that worked the best at the Masters, it was Sheffler and then Homa and Bryson were in the 8K range.
Right.
And I think Morikawa was in the high 8s or low 9s. Like it was one stud, and it was Scheffler, the top price guy, and then it was skipping a lot of all of the 10s, and going down and having your second guy in be a Morikawa, a Homa, or a Bryson.
But if you recall our show, I said, we talked about probably a -8, -9 win. Not a lot of scoring, not a lot of point total. So having a 10K guy come in second is not going to be beneficial to you. So a max one rule of one of the studs. Yeah. It worked out.
Yeah.
But if you believe this could be a 14, 16, maybe some Eagles.
Yeah.
Could be different. Plus, you've got some reasonably okay plays in the 5Ks.
Yeah.
I don't love it, but it makes a Sheffler Rory lineup tolerable.
Yeah. Yeah. And to be honest with you, Wiley, the best success that I've had all season, the best DraftKings weeks that I've had, Riviera, Houston Open, Heritage, those were balanced builds without Scheffler, shockingly enough, even at tournaments where Scheffler won. Like my 3 best weeks of the season, I think, were Heritage, Houston, and Riviera. And all 3 of those weeks, I faded Scotty Scheffler. And in 2 of those weeks, Scotty Scheffler won and finished second. And there's also been weeks where I've hammered Scotty Scheffler. I hammered Scotty Scheffler at the Masters. I hammered Scotty Scheffler at the Players. I hammered him at API. And even when he won, I had less success, shockingly, in those weeks than the weeks where I built more balanced, because the decision of whether to play Scotty Scheffler or not, are we talking blocky? Yeah.
I love that. Compliment. He fucking sucks.
Yeah. It's funny. I'm fortunate enough to spend a lot of time at Oak Hill Flex, and he's like a local celebrity there. Like,
so we have 900 live right now. A lot of these people, we're finally syndicating this to Twitter. Andy has a flex count.
Yeah, explain the bet. Explain the bet. Yeah.
Okay, so the bet is Andy has a very magical.
I fall upwards in like friends and golf experiences.
Friends, trips, experiences. I mean, the flexes aren't like I own a yacht, but the flexes for me at this point in my life are, oh, Andy has a friend. You're flexing on me because I don't have any friends. I'm 47 years old. No, sorry. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
Okay. So, the point being is, kind of the mistake that I almost made at the Masters was I went really heavy on Scheffler, and then in my non-Scheffler lineups, I went really stars and scrubs with Rory and Rahm, and it didn't end up working. Right. So I think the way I'm leaning this week, and I'm curious to get your take as well, but I think of this group of Scotty, Rory, Rahm, Xander, and Brooks. Those are 5 guys all above 10-8.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to choose 2 of those guys. And I think I'm going to choose 2 of those guys. And I think I'm going to have 50% of my lineups be with one player and 50% of my lineups be with the other player. And then I'm going to try to build a little bit more balanced after that, where like my next guy in is low 9s. And I think that's where I don't want to. There are a couple guys in the 5K range that I like this week, a couple guys in the 6s that I like this week, but I don't want to rely too heavily on that. And I'm a massive fan, actually, of the low 8s. And I think the 8s provide some really good opportunity this week as well. So I guess I should start by asking you, like, of that Brooks, Xander, Rahm, Rory, Scheffler group, who are your two faves?
My win pool right now was Sheffler, X, Brooks, Bryce, and Rory Rahm.
Yeah.
I think those are the only 6 who could possibly win this week.
Sheffler, yeah.
And I don't think you need to do a max 1 rule on those. Although, looking back on Sunday, I'll probably say you should have done a max 1 rule on those. I think Scheffler's still okay for a lock. I think that people will be, and I think the narrative's going to go, well, Rory helped the case a lot to pull ownership from Sheffler. We haven't seen Sheffler in a few weeks. He had a baby. There's the tired narrative. Sam Burns still played well last week. Rory won here before. Not saying that Rory can't win this week, but Rory in majors has been much different from Rory at Quail Hollow.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that I think that Scheffler's still untouchable. And I think if you did 150 lineups with Scotty Sheffler in it, I think that would be a very sane build. Rahm concerns me from the standpoint that we haven't heard a lot from him. But if you comp this to Muirfield, Rahm can't lay
6 at Bellerive, yeah, low owned too. Like I think that's fair to say at this point. We don't have.
I think Rahm will come in under 10%.
Yeah, I don't have a strong lean on ownership yet, but if you're just asking for my estimations at 3 p.m. on Monday, I feel pretty comfortable suggesting that Rahm will be lower than Scotty, Rory,
absolutely,
Xander, and Brooks. Absolutely. I don't think that's a hot take, right?
I think Brooks is going to be absolutely smashed at this event.
And I think I'm doing it, man.
I would do it. Why not? I mean, he comes off a win. Now it creates this super interesting narrative. Now you've got some sort of challenge to Scheffler. You got Brooks, you've got Rory, all coming off wins. You got Scheffler, probably the top 3 guys you think would win here, and they're all in super form. So, yeah, I mean, I think one of those 6 that I mentioned, that you mentioned too, I think they could probably come out of here with a win. And the question is, how do you build below? So you talked about the 9s or the mid-range. What do you like there?
Well, I just don't want to give short change really.
Let me just tell you this something really quick. These mice or mouses from Apple absolutely blow. Do you have a MacBook or a Mac Pro?
I have a MacBook, but I just use the touchpad. I don't use it an external mouse. I mean, I would almost categorize that as a flex. Like,
it was a semi-flex.
Yeah.
But it's constant battery replacement of these ding-dong mice. Sorry, go ahead. I can't even scroll down the list.
Ludwig Morikawa can't lay. Does that get totally
so Ludwig, I think
I'm hearing reports on the grounds from people
he's grabbing his knee.
Where he's grabbing his knee. So, but shades of,
everything. Shades of everything.
Yeah. Colin his irons aren't interacting with the turf before major. Like, there's always noise. Yeah, there's always noise around this stuff. But I
think uninjured Ludwig, he's absolutely in the list to win, and I think he could win. I think that Ludwig is Scheffler's 1A.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't disagree with you there. I think he's like on the outside looking in for me. Could just be adjusting it. Yeah. I mean,
Dr. Ghost jammed. MD.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
who just is the camp leader in our Discord?
Ghost Jam. There's a lot of nominations, like Ghost. Yeah, a lot of spirit animals in there, like Ghost Jammed. Obviously Kyle, like Huey Mack. Like, if you could take the Discord wouldn't be what it is without Huey Mack. Like, I like some of the more controversial entrance in there, like Big
Baba?
Mac, like Bubba. Baba. Listen, I think he's wonderful. Like he's incredible. I understand he's more of a controversial figure.
Not
But
to
yeah,
me. I love it.
I think he's incredible. But there are a ton of nominations. But so we talked about Muirfield Village, and like outside of Rahm, the best two guys at Muirfield Village are Morikawa and Cantlay.
Yeah. I like it.
So it's tough. You can't play them all though. Like that's the issue is you're gonna have to take some stands.
The problem was at the Masters, you had Cantlay, Morikawa. Well, I mean, not Cantlay. He was 96 from my recollection, but you had Morikawa in the 8s, right? And it was now you have them in the 5-figure range, which, competes with your narrative about who can win. I don't believe that Cantlay can win. I mean, he's a fantastic golfer, but I just don't believe that you come in without winning in recent past and then win a major. Especially when you got Bryson down there at 9.6, who we both like.
Yeah. And I'm just going to say, just because I think that it's important to take some stands and mention some guys that we're not playing, because the easy route is just to say that, every single player in this field can win, which you can make a case for everybody above 9K. I don't like Cam Smith this week. I don't like Max Homa this week. And I don't like Wyndham Clark this week. I'm playing none of those guys.
I don't think Wyndham Clark is he disappointed me last week.
Yeah.
I just don't think – I think he's a little less accurate off the tee.
Yeah, it's a good golf course for him on paper. He hits a power cut, but I think his irons are heading in the wrong direction right now. I don't really trust his approach play right now. And I think
the big one. Here's the big one is Justin Thomas.
Yeah. Talk to me.
Well, Thomas was the sweetheart last week, and I don't know why people were diving so heavy in for Justin Thomas. He had an okay week, a mid
shots fired.
At who, you?
Yeah, I like JT a lot last week.
No, I'm going to shots fired at Keith on Wednesday when he put me on Pavone after burying me for Taylor Montgomery. So, no, I would say that the backyard narrative being his hometown will come up at some point. But I think, golf, again, is a week-to-week, day-to-day, hour-to-hour sport. What have you done for me lately? Even not seeing Sheffler in three weeks will put his ownership down. Justin Thomas not winning for people last week is chalk, is enough for people to kick him to the curb. I don't love the hometown narrative. Sometimes I think it's worse for these players. Look at Xander at Torrey Pines historically. A San Diego guy at a course that he fits. For the first number of years, it was very tough for him there. So, did someone say ghost? Oh, there it is. Is it a ghost here, Logan? I don't feel it, but
I think he's referring to Ghost Jam. So who's your, like, if we go Neiman, JT, Hovland, Zalatoris, Cam Young, I think one of those guys is going to smash potentially.
Cam Young.
That's your favorite.
I think Cam Young just shows up in majors. I mean, I just think that, I just think that Tee to Green, he's okay. He's pretty good, but, majors demand pretty good drivers of the ball. That's why Fleetwood's always there. And Cam Young is that. I mean, he's that. At least he has that. Reish likes Neiman.
I do too. I bet Neiman this week at 40-1.
Well, that's crazy.
Let me ask you this. Who's the because all those guys, right? Well, actually, Zalatoris is like 100-1 on bookmaker right now, which is wild. But JT at 40, Neiman at 40, Hovland at 40. What's the best bet? I have your brain.
Probably JT. I mean, Hovland's just horrendous, dude. I mean, the thing is that, and I feel badly because you've been saying this since we started this show, that Hovland and Valhalla line up perfectly. Have you changed on that stance a little bit?
Like, yeah, you have to change on it a little bit because, I mean, I was hoping I was going to be happy to ride a 28 to 1, 25 to 1 on Hovland at Valhalla. And now there's 40s widely available, and I haven't bid on it yet. I just don't think that he's sharp enough to win a major right now. Now, do I think he could play well this week? Absolutely. Do I think that it's a tremendous golf course fit for him? Absolutely. Hovland does his best work around the greens on courses with thicker rough. Why has he won at Muirfield Village? Why has he won at Olympia Fields? Why has he finished top 5 at Oak Hill? Those are all golf courses that are a similar setup with thicker rough around the greens. And for what it's worth, his ball striking on Sunday was really, really strong. The issue that I have with Hovland is 16 of the last 18 PGA winners have finished top 25 in their most recent start. Okay. 9 of the last 18 winners have finished top 5. So there's this massive precedent, Wiley, for you just don't win majors anymore based on the current setups that the PGA of America is utilizing without good form. It just like those Ben Curtis 150 to 1, Jimmy Walker, Phil breaks everything, obviously, but he's a top 10 golfer of all time. But it's just on these execution-based setups now. It's so hard to win a golf tournament in not good form. And Hovland hasn't had a top 15 all season. So
no, I agree. And
there's just not a big precedent for it anymore.
Well, you had sub 8K Will Zalatoris last week. That's enticing because you could do some mid pricing builds with him. But Hovland, to me, if he was 80, so here's the funniest thing is that Kyle is 4 minutes and 35 seconds behind us, and he's commenting on shit that I said like an hour ago. And it's tilting the fuck out of me because I was like, I didn't just say this. So we're going to start talking about Kyle right now, and 5 minutes from now, he's going to laugh. Okay, here, I'm going to give you the word, Kyle. Peanuts. When you hear the word peanuts, type it in the comments. Peanuts, not penis. That's it. That's exactly it. Hovland, Kyle, to me. Hovland, to me, should be, if he was 8,200, I'm more interested, but 9,200 makes my build difficult because if you're going to have one of those 6 in the top tier who are likely going to win, you're going to have to sacrifice those guys up there. 5 minutes and 47 seconds behind. Because I like some guys that are going to burn us in the mid-range. Lowry is the toughest question mark for me. That is the biggest question mark. We had him going to the Masters. He was our favorite. He was the best price. I think it was 8,000 or 8,100. Now he's mid-priced, and you see his total driving. He's one of the most accurate drivers on tour statistically. He absolutely destroyed us at the Masters. But now he's back 8,400, Fleetwood 8,700. That's kind of the range I'd rather spend in than a 9,200 Hovland. That's the problem.
Yeah, and I'm going to throw out 2 more guys there that I really like in the low 8s. By the way, from an ownership perspective, I mean, maybe with all the people watching this show, but I would be shocked if Lowry is over 10%. Like, I was very surprised to hear you throw out that name as well, because that was one of my favorite plays, but I don't think that he's going to be a guy that's going to catch a lot.
Not after the Masters.
Nope. Killed a lot of people at the Masters. He's coming off a bad finish at Quail Hollow. He can't putt right now at all, but I think one of the things that I've noted about Valhalla, especially in comparison to like a golf course like Oak Hill, Valhalla, once you get on the greens, is really easy. There's not that much undulation to the putting surfaces. Like, Jack Nicklaus has never been famed as an architect for his ability to create like subtle, nuanced green complexes. So compared to Oak Hill, like a Donald Ross course with an Andrew Green restoration, these greens are very flat and relatively straightforward. So I do think there's a case for a lot of the team no putt guys. Like I went back and watched a lot of that 2014 PGA final round. And like Rory wasn't really putting all that well. Phil wasn't really putting all that well heading into it. Like the greens, once you're on the greens, might be the easiest aspect of Valhalla. So that makes me feel a little bit better about Shane Lowry. And then let me ask you another question. There's 3 live guys in the low 8s. Hatton,
3 questions, by the way.
Hatton, DJ Reed. I really like those guys. I really like.
I'm telling you right now.
Uh-huh.
I'm playing a lot of Tyrrell Hatton.
Me too.
Before I looked at anything data-wise,
I
saw Tyrrell Hatton 8,200. I looked at his recent form, which is good.
Yeah.
Granted, live tour. But this fucker hits the ball so straight off the tee.
Yep.
He will hit a ton of fairways. I like Tyrrell Hatton a lot at 8,200. I don't mind Reed. Reed just shows up in majors. He showed up at the Masters. He doesn't hit it far either.
Yeah.
Who's the third one?
But DJ is he dad? Is he dad?
No. Is he dad? Is he
dad?
My dad?
Dad. Like, is he just cooked? Is it just over for cooked. DJ being an elite golfer?
Remove one O from cooked, and you got it. Yeah. Yeah, no DJ for me this week.
Okay, fair enough. I just wanted you to talk some sense into me. Hatton, did you know that there's 2 players in this entire field that have finished top 20 at both the PGA Championship at Oak Hill and Bellerive? Obviously, Brooks won both of them. But Tyrrell Hatton's the only other guy in this field to finish top 20 at both Oak Hill and Bellerive.
I can see right now the optimal lineup having Tyrrell Hatton in it at like a 6th place. Back.
Even think about
because this Kentucky crowd, who is fun, who's vibrant, who's wild, they will love his energy, and he will feed off their energy. Period.
Can you filibuster while I just pull up DraftKings? Talk about who you like in the high 7s.
Oh yeah, I could talk about who I like in the high 7s.
Yeah.
I thought I would like him a little bit. I still could like him. I'm surprised he's 7K. Well, these prices came out before last week. Last week, Im showed a little bit of form. The segment brought to you by Red Lobster. Red Lobster code Andy15 at any Red Lobster. You get an extra cheddar biscuit and 1 shrimp appetizer. When you're at Red Lobster, your family. Red Lobster is actually based out of Louisville, I believe. Possibly, but they're going bankrupt anyway. High 7s, Siwoo Kim. I think the play of the year this week is Corey Connors.
Oh, dude, we're really aligned. That can't be good because you're just coming out here with like all of the guys that I think would be kind of like, I don't want to say controversial necessarily, but I don't know if people think of Corey Connors at a golf course like this, and he like breaks the mold statistically for me in a number of categories.
It is not a typical tour stop, and in these majors, the U.S. Open, the Masters, the PGA Championship, to a large extent the Open Championship, you want great drivers of the ball. Corey Connors is that. He's not particularly long, but he hits fairways. He stays out of trouble largely. And that's why these guys show up. And you're totally right about total driving. Just find me the guys who hit it far enough, but are accurate enough to stay out of 4-inch wet bluegrass in order to set up some shots and stay under par. And Corey Connors, even out of form, always typically shows up in majors. Fleetwood, another one. So yes, I love Corey Connors a lot.
I was while you were talking, I was just
Sepp Straka, right? Christopher McDonald. Isn't Sepp Straka the second most accurate driver on tour?
Yeah, he's up there. He hits it really straight, and he finished top 10 at Oak Hill for what it's worth. As you were talking, I was just pulling up because I was just curious what builds would look like if you took a stud and then you dropped to Hatton. And like, I think if there's some interesting, pretty viable lineups with going Sheffler Hatton, for what it's worth.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing, do you want to build a lineup together of just like, because it seems like we have some consensus plays. Do you want to build up a lineup together and like throw it in the $100 single entry or $200 single entry or something like that? And if it wins, we'll
can't
split.
legally. We can't.
Okay.
DraftKings will get. I got a phone call from DraftKings about 30 minutes.
I was gonna try and do some sort of giveaway for like all the people that were checking out the show, and
we should do a giveaway. That's what we're gonna do right now. You know what? We're gonna do that right now.
Okay.
Let's give away. I know you're giving away one of your podcasts, right?
I gave away a 555 ticket to there was an RPS sub who has been like, I've done so well on your stuff this year that I want to give back and give away a 555 ticket on your pod. So don't credit me for that. I'm not even the one paying for the 555 ticket, but we should do something. I'm happy to give, happy to.
Yes, Rick, we can't give a lineup away live with the DraftKings screen.
There's Scott's eyes, because I thought it was interesting. Like I was building kind of a Wiley Andy consensus plays where I put Hatton, Lowry, and Connors in the same lineup. Yeah. I was starting to really like those builds. You've got a lot of options there. But anyway, what should we give away?
Let's give away a 555 ticket, an additional one.
Oh, okay.
If you join by Wednesday, we'll give the Discord, someone in the Discord is a member by Wednesday, including existing members, a 555 ticket.
That's pretty good. The 555 tickets are no joke. That's a real one. How do you tell who join? Like you're just going to pick somebody in the Discord?
Just someone who's a member of RPS in the Discord will get a
use
ticket.
code Andy as well if you're watching the show and signing up for 15% off.
It costs me money.
Wiley doesn't want them to use my code because when they use my code,
me money.
I get some of it too, as opposed to Wiley getting all of it.
Use code Wiley for 100% off.
Use code Wiley, everything's free.
Everything's free.
Use code Wiley, everything's free. Code Andy doesn't work. No, code Andy, 15% off. If you're signing up for
Rump Your Sports, come join our Discord this week. We'll give away a 555 ticket. But who is? I think I'll save this for the Discord. I can't say this name because it's so obscure, but I know.
Well, if it's obscure, then you don't have to worry about ownership. But I hear you. Is he low price? Because we should move down to the lower price guys.
Very, very.
Okay. Because I mean, I'm happy to give away
because if you do a couple stud lineups, sorry, go ahead. I interrupted you again.
No, I was just gonna say there's one or two guys that I really like in the sixes.
I know exactly who you're talking about, and that's why I pulled this microphone off just like this for the effect. And one of them is going to be Lucas Glover. Thank you.
In heavy consideration, he's not the favorite. I always love Lucas Glover.
Absolutely.
But we've already made some mentions this week of Keith Mitchell at 6.6.
I think it's the lock, easiest, best play, worst price, perfect fit.
I think it's too cheap on Keith Mitchell for the skill set that he has. Keep in mind, Keith Mitchell has been, one of the best approach players, one of the best long iron players, and one of the best drivers of the ball on the PGA Tour all year. And then this guy is 7K flat. I know this is a Huey Mack all-star, but
you're gonna say
Dean Burmester has been unbelievable on the Live Tour from a ball striking perspective. He won Live Doral mainly on the strength of his driver and long irons. And that's pretty much what you have to do at Valhalla as well.
Mean Dean, the big T's in the house. Mean Dean.
It's a great play. It's a great play. I love Dean this week.
I gotta watch what Big T says, because he was up my fucking ass with Bryson, and I challenged him all week, and Bryson kicked off the Masters at -100.
Well, that's what I want to ask. I mean,
if Big T's saying Mean Dean, I'd probably listen to it.
Well, I'm sure he'll join for shows later in the week too. But I want to are you sticking with Bryson this week? Because I think you have to. I think you have to keep riding him.
I think if you have a win pool of 6 or 7 players, or 5 or 4 or 3 or 2 or 1, and you do a min 1 rule of those players, I think Bryson for me is in that pool of winners. Right. Yeah, the winner will be on the optimal period. I mean, he'll be on. I agree.
Look, if you're just talking let's forget DFS for a second, and let's just talk about who can win this golf.
By the way, you're right. Kyle has not said the word peanuts yet.
I have no idea what Huey Mack's up to. Huey Mack, probably what happened was somebody mentioned Kita Nakajima in the Discord and he got sidetracked or something like that. But yeah, we'll do a live show for sure on Wednesday.
Is Andy coming this week? No, Big T, he's not.
No, I'm in LA.
He doesn't like Kentucky. You've been to every state in the goddamn union except Kentucky PGA champions say, no, that's not good enough for me.
If I travel for golf again this year, then I will be single. I cannot get away with any more. I cannot get away with any more travel. So
where are you, Ryan Fox, by the way? Ryan Fox put enough performance in at Myrtle Beach, right? Big baller, big hitter. Not that accurate, but kind of a majors guy.
Yeah, he's got the same skill set. I'd throw Kitayama, Dean Burmester, Ryan Fox all into the same bucket. Just hit the ball a really long way, which can work. Just to put a bow on Bryson, though, what I was going to say is you think about who are the guys that if it's Sunday and they're in a final pairing with Scotty Sheffler on Sunday, who are the guys that you're okay, I actually think that this guy can go toe-to-toe with Scotty Sheffler and beat him. Let's do a draft. We'll each draft 3 guys.
Okay.
I'll give you the first pick because I think the first pick's obvious. But the draft is players you would want.
It's obvious
in a final,
for you, but it's not
in a final. I think the first draft pick's obvious. Players you would feel most confident with in a final pairing with Scotty Sheffler on Sunday to beat Scotty Sheffler. I'll give you the first pick. We'll do snake draft.
Brooks Koepka.
Has to be.
Yep.
Has to be the number 1 draft pick.
Yep. Number 2.
I'm taking Bryson.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. Bryson won a US Open by 5 on a similar setup. Okay. So I still think that Bryson's ceiling is as high as anyone in golf. And the reason for that is that when Bryson's on his game, he's not just the best driver of the ball in the world, he's the best putter in the world. So, I still think Bryson has the upside to win this. We talked about on the show that me and Big T did last Masters. The thing you have to think about is what's the range of outcomes for this player? And the reason we played Sheffler at the Masters so heavily is because it was in the range of outcomes that Sheffler wins the Masters by 5 strokes. And that almost happened. And I think the reason you play Bryson this week is because it's in the range of outcomes that Bryson wins any golf tournament by 5. And if you get that outcome, Quail Hollow, I made some bad picks at Quail Hollow. It was one of my worst weeks of the season. I still made money on Quail Hollow because I had Rory everywhere, and Rory just scored so freaking well that even my Rory Fitz lineups were cashing. So anyway, I have the next pick. I'm taking.
No, I have the next pick.
It's snake draft. It's snake draft.
Establish those rules before we start.
Yeah, I said it's snake draft. I'm taking.
Roll back the tape. You did not.
I'm taking Rahm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm taking a healthy Aubert, probably above Rahm, but I'll take Aubert 4th. My turn.
Yeah, I think
no one said
fair.
Rory yet.
Listen, I am not as much of a Rory is a choker as other people. He's not in my top 3 I'd want.
I think that if you make, I think this is a very good week to capitalize on the Rory. This is as high a promotion of Rory as you'll ever have coming into a major. It probably in the near future. Okay. If you believe Rory collapses this week, this is the best you can do to pivot off that ownership. Go to Rahm, go to Sheffler, more Sheffler. Go to even Xander. I mean, Xander's still, he's a top 2, top 3 guy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, listen, I know the narrative on Xander last week was that he sucks and he's a choke artist. It's the best ball striking performance of his career. Like Xander actually hit the ball better than Rory. Yeah. So even if you think that Xander can't win the golf tournament, like what is he? The second most likely player in this field to top 10 based on the way that he's playing right now. So anyway,
if you want a simple way to look at who's going to perform well at majors, just go tee to green. It's Scheffler, Xander, at least
Scheffler, Xander everywhere.
Scheffler, Xander. Scheffler short game is all world, all elite. He's still, even if he fucks up, he still can get himself out of trouble. And he's one of the best drivers. He's one of the longest drivers of the ball on tour.
He's picked up a ton of distance.
Pound
and
pound.
I know the narrative is like, oh, Xander's confidence has to be in the tank after last week.
It won't be. Let him say that.
Rory sucked his soul out. That's like, tell me you don't like talk to these guys and their caddies. Like that's not how his brain works. He gained 13 strokes ball strike.
Hey, like go check the golf Discord right now. Go check the golf. I just put the name in there for Ghost Jam because he gets mad at me for saying plays. Go see if you like that name I just posted there.
That's quite the poll. We still have one more pick to wrap this up. No, it's you. You have Brooks and Ludwig. I have Rahm and Bryson. I have a clear third pick. And I'm really worried about you snaking it on me.
No one said Rory or Xander yet, right?
No one said Rory or Xander.
I go Xander.
You're going Xander.
Yeah.
Wait, so let's back up for a second.
What are we drafting?
We're drafting guys that if they're in the final pairing with Sheffler, you feel the most confident that they can go out there and beat you.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant hottest guy.
There's no way you feel there's no way you feel more confident about Xander in a final pairing with Scotty than Rory. I feel way more confident with Rory personally.
I'm going to say Cantlay.
Cantlay's your pick?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I thought we were drafting something different, so I'm changing to Cant.
No. This is what we were drafting, but okay, I could see that. I mean, Cantlay's been like historically in contention a lot worse than somebody like Xander, but he does have that Ryder Cup kind of want the ball mentality, had that dog in him at the Ryder Cup, but statistically in contention, he's not been good. I think you left like the most obvious pick on the board for me. I'm going to take Cam Smith because Cam Smith stared down Rory in a major and kicked his ass, which I'm still recovering from. That was one of the worst beats of my life. Mm-hmm. And Cam Smith, is he as good as Scotty Scheffler? Absolutely not. Is he even close to Scotty Scheffler from a ball striking perspective? Absolutely not. But is there always a universe where Cam Smith can gain 8 bajillion strokes putting and beat everybody? Yes. And that's why Cam Smith would be my third draft pick, because it's always in play that he just makes every single putt and beats you in the most demoralizing way. So those would be my 3 draft picks. I'd go Bryson, Rahm, Cam Smith. All live guys, to be honest with you.
I don't love my pick now, but you know what? Fuck it. Ghost Jam, I'm trying to do this so I don't give you everything away. So I said Cantlay. I didn't know what we were drafting, first of all. Fine. I'm going to say Minwoo Lee. I'm going to change my pick to Minwoo Lee. There you go. Worst pick I've ever heard. What do you want me to say?
All right.
Minwoo Lee's winning the PGA Championship. How about that?
I like that. I like that pick a lot too. I'm playing Minwoo Lee. All right. We got to go.
We do? Oh, we have 1,300 people.
Yeah, I know.
What show are you going to now? We got more people.
I have to do the Golf Digest stuff for them.
That's a flex. You're over 7. You've got friends. You've got a girlfriend who loves you. You've got a Golf Digest. There was other things too.
What was
Join Run Per Sports?
Join Run Per Sports. Yeah. Wait, who's your winner?
Scheffler, of course, by 4.
I'll go Bryson.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Later, bro.